universe.
Greetings and welcome to episode 197 of Two Balls and a Mic, San Diego's #1 soccer podcast, brought to you in part by San Diego.futbol. Yep, that's literally the website, sandiego.futbol. Check everything out that we have there. But to start, we're going to go ahead and talk with the great, the powerful, the potent, the fantastic, the one that scored in Osvaldo Sanchez's face and never let anybody forget it. Fantastic, Mr. Jimmy Conrad. Jimmy,
Yo.
Welcome back to the show. We're going to get
while.
to everything San Diego Wave. We're going to get to everything San Diego Woe soccer history and everything that has to do with everything. But Jimmy, third time on the show. It's been a while. Welcome back, my friend.
Thank you for having me. It's always an honor to be on with you guys, and obviously some exciting news. Well, I don't know if it's exciting for everybody, but there is news happening in San Diego around the beautiful game, so I'm sure we'll dive into it.
Absolutely. And I mean, we've been running this for a while, and you were and have been gracious enough to grace us. This is, by the way, this is Chiva. I don't know if you recognize him. He's about 200 pounds lighter than the last time you saw him. So
Yeah,
a lot of things have changed.
A lot of changes.
The landscape is indeed different, but I mean, you've been globetrotting around the world since we last talked to you, Jimmy. Like, you've had World Cup in Qatar. You were hanging out with our pal Landon for a while. What's this soccer life been post game, post everything? Kick TV, everything goes together to put you on the front end stage of everybody's living room for the World Cup.
Yeah. Well, first, I apologize to everyone for that. But, you work hard and you have a little fun and you share some enthusiasm and passion for the beautiful game with everybody else. And somehow, some way, it landed me into some pretty cool spots. So it was fun to be in Doha following the men's team during the World Cup, and obviously very excited for them to get out of their group. And yeah, maybe a couple things go a different way, maybe go a little bit farther, but obviously I'm very high on the team and I'm excited for 2026. So we're actually Copa America next summer. I don't know where you want to go with the Greg Berhalter stuff. I'll just put my flag in the ground and say, and I've been steady with this and consistent throughout, I don't think any coach should have the job for more than one World Cup cycle. I just think that the players need to hear a new voice. Obviously, you roll the dice. Sometimes that new voice isn't what was best for the team, but it just, at times, I think can grow stale. And this is me saying this as a beneficiary of going to a World Cup under Bruce Arena's second turnaround after getting to the quarterfinals in 2002. I was part of the 2006 team. So I've had some firsthand experience of what that looks like for players that are kind of used to the same voice. And not that they take advantage of it per se, but there's a comfortability to it. And I think if there were a new voice, new people, new staff, everybody would be on their toes, and I think a positive way. But I don't know, you roll the dice and you see what happens. So we got Greg for a second term. If you just wind me up and let me go, I'm just going to keep talking. So just interrupt whenever you
I mean, unless you want to have it like Mexico and just rotate coaches every 3 months. So, I mean, you take your pick.
That's true. That feels worse.
It's
I don't
way
know.
worse.
I mean, either way, it doesn't feel like whatever's happening both in the States and in Mexico, coaching-wise, is necessarily the key for success. It seems like Canada, for some reason, decided to, get their ducks in a row in a way. But either way, it's
Herdman's out now, right? He's at Toronto FC. So
exactly.
Yeah.
But it's that legacy, and that's really kind of this side of the world now that's kind of molding into its own in terms of what soccer type of product it wants to be. I mean, we can touch on the MLS and whatever the hell they're doing. Jimmy, what do you think about this playoff system, the Americanization of the postseason?
Listen. So I played in MLS 1.0 when we used to have 3-game series.
Yes.
So this feels like a little throwback for me, and I can see where they're coming from with regard to trying to guarantee home playoff games for lower seeds in particular, so that you generate more excitement in a way where a fan that's been following you for the whole season and you've been going to all the games, and then all of a sudden you make the playoffs, but you don't have any home games, right? So I think they were trying to solve that particular issue in some capacity with the play-in game, right? An 8 or a 9 seed and the 8 seed gets a home game. And then, okay, well, how do we make that fair, I guess, going forward? And then on top of that, you want to get more games for Apple TV, right? So there's all these things, and factors that I think are driving this type of decision making. And I'll be honest, there's been some incredible games in the playoffs so far. And as a former Kansas City player,
Yes.
absolutely loving them stomping on St. Louis 2 games in a row. But yeah, it's not my favorite. I kind of like home and away.
Mm-hmm.
Just play one at each spot. You don't need that third game. Add up the scores and let's get on with it. But you know, it is we'll see. I guess I had lived it before. It wasn't that big of a deal before. The only issue before was that we would play Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. And that Wednesday game was always the home game for the lower seeded team. And at that point, not a lot of people were coming out for Wednesday night MLS games.
Yeah.
And they might still not come out in full force. So it's hard. It's a hard sell. I don't know what the right answer is, honestly. But I prefer the home and away. I think it's pretty cool. And then when he gets to the final, whoever had the best record gets to host it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. It's a tiered system of playoffs. Is 2023. I believe there's been like 4 or 5 different versions of the playoff. Just
I mean, I know
mechanics.
you hate it. You hate
Do you like it,
changes.
Chiba?
No, I hate it. I hate it too.
He's throwing me under the bus.
Like I just he doesn't like any changes when it comes to the game. I personally don't like changes. I'm open to it, but this best out of 3, honestly, just it sounds silly when it comes to soccer.
Yeah,
It's just making it's setting up the U.S. for other people in the world to say, "Wow, Americans can't count. They can't add." So if your goal is to make MLS worldwide and a world-class league, this is not the way to do it.
Okay. So let's leave the whole world out of it. What does Mexico do in Liga MX? They have La Liga, right? So they have playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
How
home
does
and
it
away.
work? Is it
home and
similar?
away? Yep.
Home and away?
Yeah, so right now, 18 teams. The top 6 teams go straight into the quarterfinals. Then from 7th to 10th.
They have playing games.
They have like a playing game, and then it's quarterfinals and on.
And it's home and away for every leg and the final? Or
And the final.
you know what? That's kind of you don't see that very often. The home and away for a final.
Yeah.
You also don't see short seasons. You don't see 17 game
true.
seasons.
That's
so
true.
they do 2 tournaments in a whole season.
And MLS has 29 teams, a 30th being announced this year.
Yeah.
So that's massive in terms of what they're trying to do. It's interesting, right? It's almost like they're trying to throw things at the wall and see what's going to stick in preparation for 2026 and just trying to get all eyes. I mean, somebody's got to pay for Messi's salary, right? And I mean, that's in part probably thanks to the amount of money that Mr. Mansour and the Siquan band of the Kumeyaay Nation here in San Diego have paid in order to be allowed to play in the MLS and be the 30th team. You've played at San Diego State for a little bit, yes.
I did.
You know, down here in San Diego, and you've
2
kind of
years.
2 years.
aspects.
There you go. Have you have a gauge of what soccer in San Diego has
I did
been?
1 year in the A-League with the San Diego Flash.
Flash.
Shout out to the Flash.
Absolutely. So you know,
I
right?
do.
Like soccer's been here in San Diego. Did you always have a thought that why hasn't it been officially MLS in San Diego? We'll get to Loyal and everything that kind of had to happen for this to happen. But did you always think, okay, San Diego's going to be it? Has to be it at some point. Has to, right?
Well, it's funny because I remember when I was with the national team and me and Steve Cherundolo are pretty close, and he played in the Bundesliga forever. And I'm like, dude, when are you going to come back to MLS? And he goes, once San Diego gets an MLS team. And we had a big laugh because at that point, there wasn't that many teams in the league yet. And it just felt like a market that maybe wasn't as big as MLS wanted. And then with the success of Toronto and Portland, and I mean, the list goes on and on, right? So you got Cincinnati, Nashville, Orlando has really kind of turned it on, especially in recent years. I mean, just these, I wouldn't identify them as the number 5-star markets, right? But then you go look and see what's happening in Chicago, and that's a situation that needs to get fixed and resolved soon, because that's a market that should be doing better as well, right? A very knowledgeable city for the beautiful game that just wants to see a better product, and I don't know if there's parallels to San Diego, but anyway, we can go down that. That's a conversation for another time. But I think now that now since those markets have proven themselves, San Diego just felt ripe for it. And you could sense that there was when I was down with the San Diego Flash, this is 98. There was a thirst for the game. I mean, we wouldn't pull in too many numbers, but there were so many people that knew the game, loved the game, wanted to be a part of it, but just didn't know which platform was going to be. It was still the wild, wild west in terms of what was happening and the ever-changing landscape for professional soccer in the U.S. But you could tell there was energy there and a thirst. So I guess at this point, it's surprising that it took so long for San Diego to be approved. But ultimately, if we scrape everything away, money talks. And whoever has the most money is usually going to get a seat at the table.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's what San Diego did, right? 500 million?
No mas.
No mas.
Cool change. Just to get in.
Pocket
Just to
change.
get in.
Pocket change
Just
for
to
Mr.
get
Mansour.
in.
Yeah.
That's
incredible.
Insane. And I mean, they got a discount in a way by not having to build a soccer-specific stadium, or as, you know, we've interviewed Tom Penn, CEO of SDFC, a soccer-specific stadium in Snapdragon. That was kind of a interesting take where, let me ask you, Jimmy, what makes a soccer...
I haven't been to Snapdragon, though. I mean, we saying, are we giving thumbs up on the atmosphere?
What's a soccer-specific stadium to you?
Yeah.
Well, at this point, I guess LAFC is the one I frequent the most because when I go home, I try to catch games. And my buddy Steve Trudla is the coach of the team, so that helps a lot. But and I have season tickets to Angel City, so sorry, San Diego Wave. But I'm an LA native. Don't hate me. Don't hate me.
It's fine. It's fine. For now,
it's that feels like a probably the most modern soccer-specific stadium out there in this country.
Yeah, and it's the same architect that built Snapdragon, same architect that built the stadium over in Austin. I'll tell you right now, Coldplay rocked it at Snapdragon. So it's a Coldplay specific stadium when Coldplay plays. But yeah, I mean,
Coldplay specific stadium.
But I mean, we saw it yesterday. The NWSL had a semifinal. They're going to have a championship game here next week on the 11th. And you clearly see the markings of San Diego State and of football. And, you know, if you're saying that it's a soccer-specific stadium, I don't think that those things would fly. And that's kind of what we're seeing here with this building. And so talking about the $500 million that SDFC put in to be allowed into the league, they didn't have to put in for the construction of a stadium. They were going to have updates, but that's going to be part of the, I don't know, Don Garber, you know, was okay with it for some reason. We'll get to talk to him on Friday. They're going to do some groundbreaking on the Right to Dream Academy, which is
I love Right to Dream.
The base here. Do you have experience or just seen that?
Yeah.
firsthand?
So I ahead of the 2014 World Cup, Kick TV and I went to all three countries that we were playing in that World Cup. So we went to Portugal, we went to Germany, and we went to Ghana. And so I got to spend some time in Accra, and that's where Right to Dream originated. So I got to speak with the founder. I got to learn a little bit more about what they're doing. It's really powerful stuff. And at that point, it hadn't blossomed into it was on the precipice of getting more investment, let's say, from bigger clubs around the world. But what it does and how powerful it is in terms of empowering kids in really underserved areas. I mean, I'm underselling that because some of the places these kids in Ghana in particular lived, you know, huts without roofs, not eating anywhere near enough per day, and giving them a place to learn and thrive and to not only on the field but off of it. Really, really incredible stuff. So the fact that Right to Dream is in is really cool in my perspective.
So what do you
go ahead?
Well, what do you think it'll bring to the MLS? Do you think other teams will find it attractive and maybe try to get a hold of it and put it into the
in terms of Right to Dream?
Or is it academy model?
I mean, I guess there are already teams that are doing it. Maybe not like Right to Dream does, but it's giving. Honestly, it's giving these kids that wouldn't have this opportunity otherwise a chance to shine and to thrive. I mean, honestly, the word thrive really sticks with me because when I went to the campus and got to meet some of the kids and sit in on the class and how they're being taught, and it's just so they're just thinking bigger. So they're not just learning; they're learning about local Ghanaian politics, and they're learning about kind of how the world works. But it's honestly, they're also teaching you how to be a human being. Like, it's so 360 in terms of how you develop a human. and how you develop a player, and how those habits and disciplines that you can have off the field can extend. I feel like I'm selling their stuff right now, but it's I don't know how much has changed. It's been 10 years then since I've actually been like in the throes of it, and I'm sure it's evolved and modified in a way that hopefully is as positive as ever. But I hope that there's already clubs that are doing these types of things, that are getting into these underserved areas in their communities and trying to unearth talent, not only ones that can help you on the field, but ones that can also potentially be the president of your club one day. I think that's really important stuff, and I hope that a lot of clubs are opening their eyes to how powerful a I don't know, what I don't call it a charity, but whatever the best word is for like Right to Dream.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's not like you're necessarily selling it or just being paid by Mr. Mansour himself, right? But it's
No,
a
does
the
he own
reality of
Right to
things.
Dream? I don't even know.
I don't,
But,
they're all involved. Tom
they're all
Vernon
involved. Yeah, sure.
in
It's
there, but
connected.
I really think that if this does work, it can really revolutionize the way that a team is built in the MLS, right? If you have 75% academy players and you sprinkle some good veterans through and through, and they're successful in that, that's going to then again revolutionize the way you play, because those kids are almost like a messiah. They have a style, they have a way of playing where at the end of the day, it's a bottom line. That's going to save you money. That's going to save you money. You're going to go ahead and develop players and sell them off. And that's my hesitation.
There's going to have to be a lot of patience with that. There's going to have to be a lot of patience, because I'll even use TST, that $77 million take-all tournament I played in last year, where Clint Dempsey had a team, and he approached that with the same type of mindset. Like, I'm going to find young Clint Dempseys out there and give them a chance. And it just didn't go as well as he wanted, because they just lacked a little experience. And that's not a big surprise. I am all in on that. I think playing your academy kids, developing them, trusting them, giving them confidence, and letting them sink or swim is going to be the best way for them to grow and learn and hopefully adapt and evolve in a positive fashion. But yeah, it's that takes time. And I hope that they give themselves the time to make that happen, because I remember having this conversation, total tangent here, but when Jay Heaps, he retired from the New England Revolution and he took over as coach, they kind of gave him the old Ben Olsen thing. We just fired our other guy. Why don't we get our old club legend to take over, And I had Jay on my podcast at the time, and I said, Jay, I know you have an idea and vision of how you want to play, but what about 9 games in and you haven't won a game yet? Like, what happens to your vision? He's like, well, then we just got to kick it long and hope, win the second balls and play from there. And that's what happened. He ended up getting fired. But it's interesting. Like, you have these idealistic views of how you want the game to be played and how you're going to develop. But if you don't start winning games, that turns real fast. So I hope for the very best. I mean, I'm a big fan of Right to Dream. So I hope that they can really instill their values into the club overall.
So in your experience in MLS, would you say a brand new expansion team, what's more important, to develop or just go out and try to win as many games as possible on your first year?
St. Louis has been trying.
Yeah, it's a little bit. I mean, can you have it both ways? Can
Cincinnati was terrible at first.
Cincinnati was terrible, and they had to figure out a couple things and probably had to. Well, they learned a few hard lessons. I remember they signed Fernando Adi, I think, as one of their DP players, and just that felt like they were going to get other people's sloppy seconds as opposed to scouting their own players. Instead of like, hey, I'm going to go get that guy. He's had 5 years of MLS experience. I'm sure he'll be fine for us, And not to say they didn't do that. They went and got Lucho Acosta, who had left DC United and then came back into the league for Cincinnati, who, without that guy, I don't know if we'd be talking about FC Cincinnati in the same way. So, yeah, you got to find those pieces that kind of connect all the dots. And if you can have a Costa, or I guess in Inter Miami's perspective, you can get a Busquets, a Jordi Alba, and a Messi to come in, that's going to connect all your young players' dots. And obviously that helps a lot. I'm curious to see what the plan is for San Diego, but I hope the idealistic one works out, because it would be very cool to see these young players really take their chance.
That's the basis that we're talking about. 2025 is the year when the ball will finally roll for MLS here. So there's still a lot of time. There's a big ramp here. And, obviously everything is barely starting up. The crest came out. The colors came out. Your thoughts on crest color?
I don't know. I guess I kind of want to see it. I'm looking at it right now, actually. I'm reabsorbing it after my first take. I don't know. I guess it's because I'm seeing it through the lens of San Diego Loyal, who I thought did an excellent job of branding in the city. I think it's a fantastic name. I think the colors and everything are great. And now, how do you top that? So I don't envy actually San Diego FC for that, but I don't know. I'm kind of in the middle. It's okay. Now, I know for people that love the Loyal and are loyal to the Loyal, want to hate it for a lot of different reasons, I'm sure. And maybe not even Loyal fans still want to hate it. It's okay. It's whatever. I kind of want to see it on a jersey. I want to see it kind of integrated into other things. It's definitely different than anything else out there. So I'll at least give them that. That's the positive.
Yeah.
What do you guys say? I don't know. Am I preaching to the choir? Or
No,
what
I mean, no, it's definitely something. It's definitely a crest. And
it's one of those where no matter what you put out there, you're not everyone's going to be happy, right? Not everyone's going to love it.
What was the rush? Did they have to get it out? Didn't they? Could they? I mean, the team doesn't start till 25, right?
yeah, I mean, they had this vision and plan of rolling things out and just kind of making sure that the market is ready and primed, ready to go. And, you know, I think it just kind of goes down to visibility. And it's true because what ended up happening is there was this period of time without the crest colors or anything where people were just kind of apathetic to it. And now, yeah, you're getting some reaction, a lot of negative reaction online, but reaction is a reaction. You're getting attention, you're getting eyes on it. So I think that, is that representing of San Diego other than having to read the paragraph telling me that's representing of San Diego? I'm not entirely sure. But again, it's a crest and it's the look. And if we want to go, if crests can win championships, then this is a mid-table team for sure.
So I'm looking at their press release. I think it's funny to release press releases on your crest.
Yes.
And it just feels like they work really hard to have to explain every single thing on there. This isn't isolated to San Diego FC. This is like across the board. But man, there's a lot of explaining. That's a lot. So chrome and azul is the colors. That's what I'm.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the chrome of innovation in San Diego and the spirit of adventure and all that.
How about the pillars of the team?
Oh, have you heard about these pillars, Jimmy?
No, I haven't. Tell me, please.
All right. So, you know, you got the diversity, you know, check the box. Of course.
San Diego's very diverse.
This is another pillar. Proud, not loud.
I see it. Living with a quiet and understated confidence.
Yep. San Diego.
Now you put that into a stadium perspective. Do you think that's setting up your fans? You think that's setting up your supporter section for success?
Honestly, that's awesome. They should whisper. Like, I don't think I've ever seen any supporter sections like whisper. Like, honestly, I'm giving you guys ideas. You got to whisper, just like for one part of the game. Everybody's we're proud, not loud.
Yeah,
That'd be awesome. That'd be like a nice little like fun wink at the owners for that.
They score a goal, they just start snapping.
Jazz.
That'd be amazing. I hope that happens. That'd be great. State of flow, performing at a peak level and embracing our unique rhythm of life. State of flow.
So it's a phrase. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
That's kind of what the centerpiece, the shower drain, the RoboCop anus looking part of the center. It's the 18 lines for 18 cities, and it's supposed to represent that state of flow here in San Diego, which, again, the explanation, you can see where they're coming from. Okay. But, like...
You don't seem too convinced, Jimmy.
I want to know what their alternatives were. Like, they didn't just look at one. They must have looked at quite a few.
Yep, I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
And this is interesting. That's all.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
I need to see it integrated with like a jersey. I want to see their colors. I want to see a chrome kit with azul piping. You know what I mean? Like, I need to see that and then see the crest. I think that could actually bang, but I need to see it before I give my stamp of approval. Right now, I'm with you. It's mid-table. Until I need to see more. But yes, the pillars. Wait, we've got gratitude.
Thank you.
You know what? Welcome. That's always should be a pillar.
Absolutely.
I'm in on that.
We're grateful we live in the most expensive city in the U.S.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
Grateful for.
It's the reality of things. But yeah, I mean, look, as a San Diegan, I've always said this, and this is what I'll give credit to: is it's difficult to say what San Diego is. Are you gonna post Shamu on your crest? Like that's San Diego as it gets. San Diego Zoo, maybe very animal themed.
Wait,
But
I need to look at the Waves logo. Keep going.
yeah, and so like it's almost an impossible task. It's an impossible ask, and so I think the Chrome almost kind of reflects that. Like, oh, what does you see in San Diego? Well, let's put the mirror on you. It's everything, right? It's a very broad and what those strokes can be, but. I mean, you're talking about San Diego Waves crest, right? And so that's kind of like
San Diego Waves crest is sick. I love that.
Yeah, exactly.
So good.
And that was the initial reaction. We were at the crest reveal for San Diego Wave as well, and initially that, boom,
We're like okay,
that kind of sent shockwaves of like, all right, like I can see that. Like, it's very interesting. We're on the water. San Diego Loyal itself, to be fair, also had criticisms of their crest. Not all San Diego is beach. Great, 100%. But it's something that we can sink the teeth into. Of all right, this is who they are. This is what they're going to be. Did they have to really make a statement the day after Andrew Vasiliadis, the CEO and chairman of Loyal, decided to announce that he's shutting down and say, "Hey guys, pat on the back. So sorry. You thank you for what you did." There's been a couple of missteps, and I think that. The opportunity is there for SDFC to really start taking those steps in a positive way, but it's a matter of showing the city what they really want to be and integrate in that way.
I like the Loyals as well. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Clean.
And it took a while, and it really kind of they backed up what they wanted to represent and on and off the field, and that kind of gave the meaning behind the crest and everything. You wanted to wear it. You want it to be loud and proud. See, that's what I think. It was just that tweak. Just make it and proud and
proud,
not loud
and proud.
But it's again a lot of talk about a club that won't play until 2025.
Yeah, and it's gonna take a while for them to kind of win the people over without knowing who the manager is, without knowing what players they bring in, right?
Yeah, well, this happened to when Chivas USA folded and then LAFC got its start, right? They had all their fans, well, their new fans without a team. They just had like the logo at that point. So, yeah, this is all part of the evolution of this. But yeah, it's disappointing. I'm really, really bummed for Andrew and everybody else that put so much time and energy and love and sacrifice into the San Diego Loyal.
It's the way Loyal went out in that last game.
Heartbreaking.
And Phoenix is just doing that this whole playoffs in the USL.
Yeah, they beat SAC last week too.
To be fair, everybody took a look at your USL bracket, Jimmy, and everybody was like, "All right, semi, all right, Western Conference, all right." Like, but the story didn't.
I was being loyal to the loyal, man. But
thank you for everybody who's in the comments right now. Esteban shouting out Conradinho and
what's up?
I mean, obviously, you're a big personality in U.S. soccer now, man, and have been. Your take from Kick TV all the way to where it has been now is different, right? And what's it like now navigating almost from non-mainstream media in the soccer sense online? Kick TV, you were playing in Sidemen charity matches. Just that was the world. But now you're up in front of everybody as a lead pundit. Like, what's that difference like?
I would say that there are just more people helping you. When you're doing stuff, you guys know, right? You're doing this podcast, just you two, I assume. And then as you start to get different types of opportunities, and some of them might be a little bit bigger when you're the host of all the digital coverage for Fox Sports at a World Cup. There's just a lot of people helping you to look as good as possible, to sound as smart as possible. And that's really what changes the most, is just the amount of people that are trying to put out a good product and being a part of a team. You two probably just have you two, or maybe you have more. I hope you have more.
We got one more.
But we got a guy in Wisconsin. Shout out,
Drew. That's great. No, that's how I was too. I had Mike K.
Shout out Mike K.
Mike K. Shout out to Mike K. And I had Miko, this guy that was helping me do my thumbnails from Finland, and Chike, who was doing my research for me in Nigeria. The guy was amazing. Still talk to everybody. Had Monty helping me here when I was doing my Twitch stuff, and yeah, it's great. You get to share these crazy, awesome experiences of being able to talk about the beautiful game and make just enough scratch to keep it going, and yeah, it's been fun. And now to parlay that type of energy and social media visibility into, well, more digital stuff, but in front of more eyeballs is just a testament to the hard work and sacrifice. Just I kind of approach what I do now the same way I approached it as a player. You just keep grinding, keep trying to do good things, and eventually you'll get to where you want to go. And to be able to be a part of World Cups, both for the men and women, and to be a part of what Fox is doing. And now, I do stuff with CBS as well and get to go in studio with their Golazo channel, which is insane.
Yeah.
That there's a 24/7 soccer only channel here in this country that's free is awesome. And so it's just so many special people trying to do a lot of cool things in the sport and trying to grow it here in this country, especially ahead of the 26 World Cup. So yeah, it's cool to be a part of it. That's what I'll say. And I don't take any of it for granted.
Yeah, I mean, we got the 2026 World Cup coming. We have Copa America, right, in 2025.
Everything's coming.
Everything's coming to the U.S. Well, what does it take for any city in the U.S. to just kind of claim being the soccer mecca here in the States? Well, what does it take?
Hold on. What is the soccer mecca right
I don't
now?
know actually what it takes. I assume I grew up in LA and we had a lot of World Cup finals there. So I don't know why LA doesn't claim soccer capital of the US.
If you had to give it to someone right now.
You have to, I guess, to give it to someone right now. Wow, that's a lot of pressure.
It's a big country where, like, you go to Europe, right? Like, you have the hubs of soccer, and you go to London, you can go to Madrid. You have those areas and just jam packed together. But just the U.S. is so big,
so big, and each market has its own personality. It's some are proud and not loud, and I don't think Kansas City makes a claim at being the soccer capital of the world. And right now, after dominating St. Louis, it's hard to argue otherwise.
Yeah.
I think Portland's thrown their name in the hat. Seattle's thrown their name in the hat. Apparently, Cincinnati invented soccer, or Atlanta invented soccer, or whatever new markets come in with a bunch of fans. Everybody's invented soccer. So, no, it's great. It's great. I don't know. I think it what always surprises me just how passionate the fans are when you really tap into that. And having the benefit of playing for a long time in this country, and then obviously getting the opportunity to travel around and to get drunk with fans and watch games, which is always thrilling and fun if they want to pay me to do that, is it's been really what I guess what we waited for when we were players was this will really start to blow up once kids that went to games with their dads when we were playing are now dads themselves, right? And they're passing on those traditions and those stories to their next generation. And all of a sudden, the kids just like, yeah, of course, the Earthquakes have always been here, or San Diego FC's always been here, or the Galaxy have always been here, and it's just part of their everyday. And that's where I think we're really going to hit, that big tipping point. But obviously adding more teams, more markets, and with the World Cup in 26, Copa America be a nice appetizer for the main course. It's the World Cup, but yeah, if we're not cooking with gas at that point and inspiring millions of kids to want to play for our national team, then we're doing it wrong.
Wait, do you think the MLS needs more teams?
I don't.
Okay. Okay.
No. So here's the interesting. Well, I'm just saying, because they got into so many markets, it just allows more of that fandom to blossom. And so there's a couple things. I mean, I wrote an article when I was still playing. So I used to write for Sports Illustrated first, and then ESPN, where I kind of write kind of on the inside looking out from the player perspective. Yeah. I'd write stupid stuff too. I interview my teammates and ask them if they were jealous of me in the shower, and they would all say no.
But you would lie and say
what?
yes.
I blame my dad's genetics, everybody. You know what? Different conversation. But I also had a column in there where I said, I'm going to predict what the future of MLS looks like. And I said, and this is 2009, I wrote this, and you can probably dig it up somewhere on the internet. But I put my flag in the ground, as I said earlier, and thought that MLS would try to expand to 40 teams, because they're not going to allow promotion relegation to happen outside of their control, right? They're not going to bring USL in all of a sudden and then assume all those markets.
Yeah.
Or at least I didn't think they would. So and that's clear that that's not the path they're choosing. So you get to 40 teams, and then you have MLS 1, MLS 2. That's what I predicted in my column, was that's the way they were going. And I don't know if that's going to happen, but it looks more likely that would happen than them assuming or absorbing USL. I don't know. Stranger things could. I mean, it'd be nice if everybody was rowing the same boat, rowing the boat in the same direction in this country. But it seems like
I mean, you already have MLS next.
Yeah, and I mean that's what's kind of that's that battle, right? And it's kind of the uncomfortable conversation of the reality of things is that pyramid sometimes isn't the fairest, and it's not stable, right? You have a league like NISA who's done right things in their own right, but it took up until the last week to realize, are we going to run this year? Are we not going to run this year? There's so many inconsistencies like that, but I mean,
what's the answer, boys? I mean, do you just go for it? Get everybody like, you know what? USL is second division. MLS, if US Soccer, the governing body here says USL second division, and their top 3 teams have to go to MLS. And MLS, your bottom 3 teams got to go down to the bottom. That's it. And you just take the training wheels off and you see what happens. Sink or swim time. And if the MLS owners don't like it, then they shouldn't have bought in. And if the USL, so it just be, I don't know what it is, because USL, the buy-in to get in USL, that's where everybody, all the billionaires would go, because it's a cheaper entry fee to then get promoted to the top league. So it's so complicated now that I just don't think it could be possible.
I mean,
because of these entry fees.
Exactly. And that's huge, right? Where say a team, and that's the beauty of promotion relegation, right? Like somebody like San Diego Loyal can work their way into that upper echelon of things,
right?
But again, isn't necessarily fair for those people who have bought in. But again, the fees for when a team that went into the league, as opposed to the $500 million, those fees might be different. But ultimately, man, like if there can be some sort of, if MLS Next can be that vehicle, add the USL championship teams into the MLS Next, have them develop into the top tier, almost like a baseball, how the San Diego Padres will have the Chihuahuas, they'll have, these teams, they'll have Lake Elsinore, those teams feed into the main team. And then that model could potentially really take off where, you can have these players, they're under your contracts, but they're playing in MLS too. That's kind of what LAFC was doing with Las Vegas Lights for a little bit, where they had baby LAFC over in Vegas, let them cook, let them do everything. And once they're ready, all right, let's start bringing them in. Galaxy did that forever. Preston Judd destroyed San Diego Loyal by the time he was in LA Galaxy 2, and then kind of develop into his own. But then again, that's never going to happen. And this is kind of like those pipe dreams, right?
I think with regard to the romanticism of it, where I think that, or why, part of the reason why the sport hasn't exploded here is because if you were in, I don't know, Chattanooga, which I think Don Garber referenced one time in a thing, but if you are in that type of market and you have a 4th division team or whatever it is, even if you know as a fan that your team doesn't have the investment to really get up to the top of the pyramid, the fact that you're actually in the conversation is what I think is what that one dot that we're not connecting, because MLS can't get into every market. Our country's so big.
Exactly.
So how do you get your fingerprints in? I don't know if MLS Next Pro, and I know it's still new, but it's just going to still feel like a byproduct of the top league. But I understand what you're saying with regard to like AAA and the Chihuahuas. What a name, by the way, for a place.
Excellent.
And they just have to feel like there's a competitive way for them to get to the top. And we don't have that, and it doesn't exist. And I think the sport suffers here because of it. And I wish everybody was rowing the boat in the same direction, and we're not. And in some ways we're working against it, and it feels counterintuitive and it feels counterproductive, but it's still gross despite all that. So here we are. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, we do get a little bit of a taste of what that would be like with the Lamar Hunt Open Cup, right? And that's where some of the best games that I've necessarily seen in the American version of the sport really come from. And the U.S. Open Cup is very interesting because of those geographical aspects of it, where San Diego Loyal last year, and Coach Nate Miller, head coach, did the math, was the most traveled team in the world because the U.S. is so big. They had games on a Wednesday in Florida, had to fly all the way over to Phoenix, go back over into Hartford to come back into Texas to come and play in San Diego 2 or 3 times, but then you got to go back to Pittsburgh. So that in itself is just a huge undertaking, and I don't think it's taken into consideration with
It's not.
with a lot of these things.
And it should be, and it's not. I think too, we as a country, when I think about the people that are driving it, and I'm sure they understand this, because they'd be very naive if they didn't. But when we try to let's go get the guys in Belgium that did their golden generation, and let's go get the guys from Germany that rebuilt them after, they got knocked out of the Euros in 2000, and they put a plan in place to win the World Cup in the next 10 to 20 years, and they did in 2000. Let's go yeah, of course, let's go get those guys. Also, Germany's the size of what, New Hampshire? Like, it's just like, it's just not the same, so they come over here with their methodologies and their plans, and then they realize that the people in New York aren't thinking about the game in the same way as they are in California. And by the way, all the politics in California at the youth level or wherever they were trying to make inroads is much different than what's happening in Florida. Yeah. And don't even get started with Minnesota youth. You know what I mean? It's just like, we're so big. It's just, I feel like they should regionalize a lot of this. And it doesn't seem, I feel like they got to figure out a way to do that. And now, I guess, with the continued evolution of youth academies and clubs having more control and putting more time and energy and money into their youth academies, that's solving some of the problems, because you're starting to really understand all the talent that's in your area and how you can nurture that talent. But I still feel like it'd be nice if I don't know. We can't even get Southern California and Northern California to agree on things. I don't know how we're going to get a whole country, but and I mean that from like a youth soccer perspective. But,
I mean, the Hella versus Hecka debate will forever live.
I know. I live in Northern California now, but I'm from Southern California. I'm like constantly torn internally, but yeah, it's a tough problem, and it takes a lot of people to solve it, I think, and sometimes I don't think we have enough people in place to make that happen.
What do you mean you don't solve it by bringing Messi into the league?
That solved everything.
I think it's great. I mean, I'll always say yes to that. Now it's just, do we have a exit plan for when he eventually retires? Because I think he's human, but I'm not completely sure.
We think you played against them, so you would know.
I did.
So
yeah, I don't know. He didn't seem human then, so I'm not surprised at everything he's accomplished. But that's amazing, and it does bring some sparkle and some excitement to the league and a hot ticket, right? But what else are we doing to help build around that? Is going to be important, because I thought this is something else I wrote in that article, or I believe I did, or at least I wrote in an article at some point. I've always been disappointed. Like I understand why the single entity structure for MLS was put in place initially, right? Mm-hmm. There's so many failed soccer leagues leading into the start of MLS. So you have this as a way to protect and let it nurture and grow. Yeah. What I was disappointed about was where was hey, year 20, we need to be unlocking this. Like this archaic rule needs to go. And guess what? This archaic rule doesn't even matter anymore. And I feel like we're going to maybe get there from what I understand, but that hasn't happened enough. And we're still holding on to these things that I don't think are as relevant anymore, especially with we have $500 million entry fees into the league. So that is what I've been a little bit disappointed with. You have really smart people that got this going and put some really smart things in place, but didn't have those, evolved levers to okay, we're going to take off the floaties now. We're going to swim,
yeah. It takes some risk.
And yeah, it takes some risk. And I think we're getting there. I mean, there's been that, not Phil Landshutz, it was Todd Leiweke who came in and gave us the David Beckham rule, right? Mm-hmm. And so those types of people that are continuing to push the envelope, and I know there's probably a whole bunch of owners that are ready to spend and get after it. And I'm sure the Messi stuff has helped them open their eyes to how fantastic it could be, not only to bring a big name, but to have a league that has this excitement around it. How do we bottle this feeling? And I hope that there's some smart people thinking about how to make that happen.
You're a smart person, Jimmy. Well, have you ever put thought into maybe being involved in some of these discussions? Are you involved in some of these discussions? I mean, do you enjoy just being a witness to it? Because I mean, look, it takes a lot of people to recognize when something's going to make a profit, but if you do it in a smart way, and I think that's kind of the reaction here in San Diego, where soccer's always been here, And so all the soccer natives want is for it to be respected, and it's a little, you know, dramatic, but it's the conquistador natives thing is something that I go back. This sport has been here. We're saying take it. You're gonna make money with it, but if you're authentic with it, if you're with it and you respect the sport, you respect the people that have been playing with it, you're gonna print so much more money too, and it's natural. It's authentic.
What do they have to do for you to tick that box?
They really
I'm
have.
just curious
Yeah.
how, because you come in fresh, you know, everybody's going to be your buddy to start, right? Because they want everybody to be their buddy in return. Like, is it less year one and more year two and year three? You know, like what is that, and how long does it take for them to win you over? I guess.
Yeah, I mean, look,
I'm more out of curiosity.
yeah. I've personally just kind of had a removal from any type of fandom because I can't necessarily get tied emotionally with it. San Diego Loyal came and went, and it really showed the potential, the ceiling that San Diego has when you do things in the community correctly. When you do on field, you treat it as a real sport, as a big boy. Sometimes, right? Like this is what it should be. And while the U.S. has had a history of having this machine of the MLS, if that machine had a tiny little heart where they can say, all right, we're going to go ahead and invest and really believe in this community. The Right to Dream thing is fantastic. Is that really going to mean that there's going to be 90% of Right to Dream Academy kids from the San Diego? Or are they going to fly kids from abroad, which is still a fantastic program? It's still going to yield fantastic players and human beings. But what is that really going to be reflecting on San Diego itself? And once they do that and harness that and really harness the people that have been here and respect them, and it's fine. They have shown some glimmers, some hopes, and I'll tell you this: there's more Latino and Spanish-speaking fans already of SDFC than I've seen of San Diego Wave and San Diego Loyal combined, and that's just the truth of it. And it's one of the things where like, well, these people have always been here. Why didn't they go to a Loyal game? But it's also not ignoring the people who have built what's been here. Who have, if you say that there's 6,000 Loyal fans and so many fans that you want to get, and you need to fill 33,000 seats at Snapdragon, that's not going to cut it. Well, it's still going to help. And I think taking strides in that direction is going to be a very positive thing. But ultimately, I know Chiva, at least for you, you don't care about any of that. You just want the team to play.
No, wait. I care about the community and the community work that they have to do. For sure, that has to be done the right way. I think what Loyal spoiled a lot of fans is that they personally knew the owner, Andrew. They personally knew the president, Ricardo, right? And that's never going to happen in MLS. You're not going to see Tom Penn going with the supporter section, or you're not going to see Mansour, the owner, coming in and jumping with the Frontera Ultras, right?
That would be hilarious.
It would be, but it's not going to happen just because it's so big. I'm a believer that you have to put quality product on the field, and you have to win a bigger audience over. And that's going to be hard as an expansion team. It's going to be hard in your first 2-3 years.
I think St. Louis has actually done a pretty good job.
They have
of creating an identity, and not only off the field but on it. So I guess if San Diego's taking any notes, St. Louis would be a good one. And there's plenty of examples of teams that have done pretty well. I'm curious though, as to someone that's lived in San Diego for a couple of years of his life, what kind of style do you two and San Diego want to see when this field when this team takes the field? Now leave out the fact that we all know it's year one expansion is always tough. Let's leave that out. Just in terms of like a playing style and identity, what's gonna float your boat? What's gonna get you excited to get up and get to the stadium?
So from what we know so far that they want, they're going to follow what the Right to Dream Academy
FC Norseland in Norway.
So it's a high-pressing game, very intense, very fast-paced, a lot of running, a lot of high pressing, and trying to win the ball in the opponent's half. That's kind of like the style they're trying to go for. But for
what
that,
do you want? What's going to fire up San Diegans?
A lot of goals. I mean, it's going to be goals for sure. It's going to be, San Diego Loyal at one point was the highest scoring team in the USL.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to start bringing a lot of people, bringing a big name, obviously. They're throwing Mohamed Salah's name on. They're throwing his hat on already in San Diego, where they want him to come and
Listen, you got a market that I would say 99% of the people would be like, oh, I'll live in Del Mar and come down and chill out and kick the ball. Where's the training facility, actually?
So that's what the groundbreaking is going to be here November 9th at the Sequan Reserve, some Native American land, because obviously SDFC has some of the only Native ownership, Native people ownership in the league. So
where is that? I don't know where that
that's
is.
going to be El Cajon, so
Cajon.
East County.
That's south, baby. Or east?
Yeah, East County.
Yeah.
East.
Yeah, so you just take the 8 all the way. Sound like the SNL Californians. You gotta take the 8. But yeah, so it's gonna be over there, so they can construct anything that they want over there, and it looks like a state of the art facility. It looks like fantastic, and I mean, to answer your question as far as play style, I mean, look, if they can do anything, and if they have a linear play style that is identifiable as San Diegan, and if that means, for me, if that means it's possession based, if that means it's not necessarily the prettiest, as long as that style is, you can point at it and say that's San Diego's style, I'll be happy with that. I like possession based. I mean, I like keeping the ball.
As Loyal laid out a blueprint for it, clearly, as Shiva said, scored a lot of goals.
Yeah, and they also had what we called Nate ball. Nate Miller, his style involved having Coque Vegas take
the last center.
The
goalkeeper was a center back.
The heat map was pretty much in the center mid. So
he just signed it with Rhode Island, right?
Yeah, first signing, Coque Vegas.
Yeah, good signing.
Yeah, absolutely. And so as far as that goes, it's I mean, if they have a winning style, and that's the only thing that we can ask for, and that's the thing, that's the hardest part, Jimmy. We're San Diegans. We know loss. We know what it feels like to have.
San Diego's just cursed. San Diego's just cursed when it comes to playoffs or anything like that. You've seen it with Loyo. You saw it with Albion. You saw it with Wave.
Right.
Saw it with the Padres.
Yeah.
Sorry about the Wave, by the way. I didn't really talk about it, but they were
90
minutes away from hosting a final.
Yeah. It's
just the way they got scored on too was just
an improbable.
It's a 1 in 1,000 crosses that goes in.
I know.
But at the end of the day, Casey Stoney did say, they didn't play their best, and they really didn't, and that's what happens when scheduling gets conflicting, right? Where you have a bye week and then you have a national team break.
Yeah.
And you don't play for 3 weeks and you go in to play your semifinal. It's not ideal.
Yeah. I don't like international breaks in the middle of playoff windows, whether it's NWSL or MLS.
No, it just makes no sense. But no, something that also doesn't make any sense is really the time that you give us, Jimmy, because honestly, look.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. I mean,
absolutely
listen, I
fantastic.
got lost in your guys' voices, and always excited to be on the show and appreciate you and your audience. And I'm happy to come on again in the future. I want to be, I don't know if I'm your first 4-time guest, but I want to be your first 4-time guest.
Let's make it happen.
Let's go ahead and do it, Jimmy, just because, again, we're going to get
let's
into
not
this.
wait 2 years for it.
Yeah,
I'll see you next week then. That sounds good.
I mean, I'm down for that. We used to have Sarah Allen Underwood. Now we have Jimmy Conrad. So you need to grow a beard for us. But no, again, Jimmy, this is a real treat. And as we go into this MLS venture and then hopefully this World Cup venture, man, like we've been accepted into the Gold Cup final as press, as media. So that's kind of the growth that we've been here. And it's honestly thanks to seeing.
Yeah, really proud of you guys.
No, appreciate it, man. And it's really thanks to seeing people like you really put your all into it and succeed. And so while you're out there having a blast, man, people are watching and really taking note. And I really appreciate you once again, just taking the time of the day to come on down. Let's do this again.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, man. Have a good one.
See you soon.
Bye.
What a great guy.
What a guy.
What a guy.
That's my guy. Jimmy Conrad.
Didn't score on you.
Did not score on me.
And you didn't bring it up. I'm really proud of you for not bringing that up.
Didn't bring it up against Shannon McMillan. Didn't bring it up against with Jimmy Conrad.
Are you moving on from bringing it up?
I'm just about to have
¿Qué show contigo?
a big time.
Okay. We didn't talk too much Wave with Jimmy Conrad. Hope you guys enjoyed our special guest tonight.
Absolutely.
But let's dive into San Diego Wave, right? We were there this weekend for their semifinal. It was a record-breaking attendance.
Yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat who's been here because again, this doesn't really happen without people, giving us the time of their day to come on down 8 p.m. every Monday.
We'll put it like this, guys. We're not about views or clicks or likes or anything like that, right? But I was just telling Tony, whoa, last time we had Jimmy Conrad was 2 years ago. That video had 37 views.
Yeah.
We've been averaging about 15 to 17 viewers right now. And
Concurrent, yeah, 100%.
And you know what? This video, whatever it gets, 50, 100, 200, 300 views. I mean, it just shows the growth that we've been making, and it couldn't be possible without you guys.
Yeah, and that's honestly a treat for us. Great perspective, great stuff. That's the thing. He knows the shit.
He really does.
And it gives
really
us an
does.
education off screen. Sometimes, you know, we talk, and this is where people, hey, anybody can find us on our internet. Anybody can find Jimmy Conrad on the internet, I guess, and have him on. But it's a really good to have somebody like that in your corner, supporting you. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. We'll talk about it as we get moving forward. MLS this week, they're going to have the groundbreaking at Sequan Casino on the 9th. It's going to be the first shovel in ground. Don Garber will be there. But yeah, so that's kind of what we have for SDFC MLS. Jimmy Conrad, thank you forever. The bracket sucks.
It does.
You know what else sucks? San Diego Wave losing yesterday.
Oh, man, let's talk about it. The benefits and the positives of yesterday, it was an NWSL playoff record. What was it, 32,200 and change? Something like that, right?
Yeah. So breaking the record.
So that's a positive. However, it wasn't the result they wanted. And we'll start in chronological order, right? Let's go with the starting lineup.
I like
and
that.
this is what we had. This is what Casey Stoney put
Jimmy.
out for
Jimmy.
32,000 people. Kellen Sheridan in a goal. Pogue on the left back position as she kind of took ownership since Kristen McNabb got injured. You have Naomi Girma and Dal Kemper at the center back positions. Great. You have Westphal, your right back, who you relied on the last 2 seasons. You have Kolaprico, who's pretty much been in that midfield since the start of this season as well.
Yeah.
You have Van Egmond, who has been your key number 6, right? You're one of your best midfielders in the game. You got
Rachel Hill,
who kind of played a right wing position. Doniak, who played a left wing position. Shaw kind of played a 10 role right behind Alex Morgan. And then Morgan played up on top. I was very surprised when I first saw this. I was surprised that Rachel Hill was in the starting lineup. Yes, she has NWSL experience. Yes, she's played a couple games as a starting role. I really thought you would go with Carusa in the starting spot or Jacobson. Yeah, they did go in an international break. Yeah, Carusa did play.
I told you that's
in a big puddle and a big pool and had to fly 22 hours to get back to San Diego. When it comes to playoffs, you have to play your best players. I don't think Rachel Hill was the right option. I think that was a mistake from Casey Stoney from the start. But then again, you know, you go with it. You weren't playing the worst, but can I just say Emily Van Egmond had her worst game wearing a San Diego Wave jersey this Sunday.
It wasn't the time to have a bad game. And I mean, you were talking about Carusa over in the Irish women's team playing an absolute a terrible looking field. Speaking of terrible looking fields, I mean, this is just an eyesore. People, I tweeted from the account, you know, and then we're trying to do better. You know, that the account is sacred. The account of Two Balls and a Mic tells you what things are, and they
tells you facts.
They tell you facts, and
opinions are staying
in
from
there
personal accounts now.
that
you didn't notice.
Yeah, and I put
this
that
we
it's
could
an
both agree
eyesore.
on.
That it's an eyesore, and people disagreed. A couple of people disagreed. I'm like, how is it not an eyesore to have a soccer-specific stadium not look soccer-specific? I get it. San Diego State owns it. They're the tenants, San Diego Wave, of the Snapdragon Stadium, and you got to play by their rules. But again, like this, again shows you that it's not necessarily primed to be a soccer-specific stadium up until now. If whatever happens with SDFC and the investment that they're going to make into the stadium, into the locker room, if that's going to somehow fix some of this, we'll wait and see, and I'll shut my goddamn mouth, and I will be proud to, because this is what I mean. This is not...
I hate that.
Optically, this is garbage. I don't care. It's an eyesore because this is a soccer field. Get rid of them. How do you do that? I don't know. Is the technology not here? Probably not. Invent it. Do something. You have a year and a half. Like, I don't know what the solution is for this, but That's going to be something that's if San Diego FC, if San Diego Wave keep being, if they are good teams, they will make it into the playoffs. They will have a lot of overlap with San Diego State.
Imagine if this was turf and it was going to be there forever, and then they had you seen the football field with the soccer.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And I mean that's a lot of the reality of soccer in the States too. Is those all-in-one turf field. But all right, enough about the turf. Everybody hates it. There should have been some San Diego Wave crest on the field. Might as well. Like, why not?
Let's not forget to mention this, right? Yeah,
And
we're
they're gonna have
talking
a
and focusing on
championship
San
next year.
Diego Wave, but on the other side, this could have been Rapinoe's last game ever. So there's a history going into this game, right? There's something going for Rain where it's so important to win this game and give Rapinoe a trophy on her last game ever. So they're gonna play it 100%. They're gonna play their hearts out for Megan Rapinoe, and that's something that you saw them doing compared to San Diego Wave. You saw Rose Lavelle. You saw the skill, the talent that she possesses, just running through that midfield left and right. And you can see that they were playing. Megan Rapinoe
Played her heart out.
yeah, she played good, but she wasn't a contributing factor. Yeah, she had a couple shots, but she wasn't the it factor of that team. You can tell
It's
Lavelle
not
and it's
Rapinoe
other
of old.
players. Exactly.
100%.
But you can tell she's the leader. She's very vocal.
Very vocal and played very well defensively. Had defensive output that was really, really impressive for the up until the 90th minute. But she was involved. Like, she was involved where I would say Alex Morgan was not.
Exactly. Yes, she was way more involved than Alex Morgan for sure. And I even told you I would sub out Alex Morgan. Just play Caruso up on top instead of a wing.
We know why you can't possibly do that. Sub out
know.
Alex Morgan.
I know,
but
still,
I mean,
man.
the situation really called for it. So, you know what? First half, it was what it was. Wave kind of defended an onslaught of OL Reign, who were playing well. You can really tell that OL Reign had the game plan set, and they were executing. Their motion, their movements were so much better in between the spaces of the Wave players, because the Wave players were just kind of like blue cones at sometimes, and Reign was just doing whatever they wanted. That midfield, as I believe I saw David right here said, David says non-existent midfield the first half and kind of improved in the second half. Yeah, it kind of improved because the time was running out. That urgency was there. It's a matter of having a 90-minute game. You can't just play a 45-minute game and expect to necessarily win, especially in playoffs. A question that you asked, Casey Stoney, was like, did that extended break have anything to do with it, right? They get the bye. They have 3 weeks before the semifinal match.
Yeah.
Same thing that happened with Portland Thorns. They get booted out by Gotham right before. The second team that has a bye also gets booted out. It's
the first time that there's no first, second, or third seed in the championship game for the NWSL, and that just also goes to show that the level of competition in this league, however small it is, 12 teams, is going to 14 next season. It's very competitive from 12th place to first place. And any team can beat any team on any given day, and it is a very competitive league. Is it the best in the world? I don't think so. I think the English WSL is surpassing it.
Watch your mouth. There's nothing over the NWSL.
Yeah, I mean,
all
I'm
right,
not a big
according
fan
to
of it.
some U.S. Officials.
Yeah.
So watch out. What you say, Chivo? Getting yourself in trouble.
Yeah, so go
But,
ahead,
yeah.
sue me.
47th minute, 0-0, and then this fluke of a cross/goal happens.
Exactly. That's why it's heartbreaking, right? Because this shouldn't go in.
Mm-hmm.
This shouldn't go in, and
Never.
And as a goalkeeper, you can't do anything about it. I saw your pain when that went in, and you're like, fuck, like Sheridan couldn't do anything about that.
There's nothing she could have done, because it's not like she's poorly positioned. She just is in the wrong place at the wrong time. Casey Stoney did say, like, we should be doing better and at closing in, right? You have three players. You got Calaprico here, you got Poe, and you got Rachel Hill right there, all around. Doniak. All across Lasco,
but the way she said it, right, is like, I mean, I guess we can try to close in all the crosses, Like,
Yeah.
are we supposed to do that? Just
Every single
block
cross?
every single, like, it's impossible.
In theory,
to do that.
yes. But no, yeah, 100%. It's impossible. And
You
Latsko gets
try to do that, but-
super lucky here. And look, Sheridan just knows it. Like, the pain as a goalkeeper was there because you see that ball floating and it's dropping. It's with the outside of the foot and just drops in a way
But
where it's not supposed to.
The way they were playing, though, they were gonna score on Wave sooner or later.
100%.
Whether it
That
was
was
just
gonna happen.
a lucky
Yeah.
goal like this or a well-designed play off a corner kick or anything, you said it. This team had height.
Yes.
Their attacking players were really tall, and
They were
and that,
physical.
And that brings the question, right? If you know they're physical and they're tall and they're like you said, physical, why not put Korniak in, who could be one of the most physical players? You've raved about it during the season where she's so physical and she's not getting protected by the refs. Throw her in this physical match.
Exactly.
Why don't you start her? And not only that, okay, make the sub around the 50th, 60th minute. Give it 30 minutes. You put her in the 88th minute.
To her credit, Casey Stoney in the post-match conference did admit that, look, and it's a learning experience for her as well, that she should have more than likely made changes and subs, game changers earlier, which I think everybody can agree with that. Sofia Jakobsson did go in and added a little bit more dynamic play.
So did Carusa. The 88th as well.
Yeah, but listen, what time?
88th.
Exactly. So that's a little bit, on exactly what Casey was saying. It's like she should have done a little bit better, but you got to be able to recognize those things. And this game was screaming Korniak, and there's players on San Diego Wave that have said that, look, they're not happy with what's been going on with their play time. But look, the team won the Shield for a reason. They weren't necessarily the most consistent
She
throughout
keeps
the
saying
league.
they were the most consistent. I wouldn't say that. I think they peaked at the right time towards the end of the season. To be the most consistent team, you wouldn't have a 9-game streak without a win. You know what? So just, nobody's gonna correct her because she's the coach, and
she's
technically she's right.
Yeah,
you were top, you won the Shield, you were consistent, but you peaked at the right time, and that 3-week window really kind of like just killed your momentum, and that's unfortunate. Maybe next season, cool. Let's not win the Shield. Let's try to go for 3rd or 4th place, and play the quarterfinal to get more momentum, and maybe that's the way you win a championship. But it's going to be very interesting to see what San Diego Wave does moving forward, especially with the NWSL draft coming up as well.
No, exactly. And I think to the comments here, right, that Esteban and David are saying, like, Esteban says, I think that it was the worst SDFC game ever. Very slow build up from the back. Played long ball and played Alex Morgan and prayed Alex Morgan can do something with it. And that's the thing. She couldn't. She didn't. Why? I'm not sure. She was off her game too, David, since there was no mid. Estaban jugando con puro balonazo. It was pretty sad.
She's been off her game this whole season.
She hasn't necessarily been, and again, what happened last season, she won that golden boot, but because of being Penalix, and there wasn't a lot of Penalix.
What was it, like 6 or 7?
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of Penalix action happening this season. So, and she took that back step to Jaden Shaw, where Jaden Shaw was really that engine, and she couldn't really kind of try to be a creative. They Morgan kind of did that in the World Cup, but she never also found herself in that place. So I think it's going to be a matter of Alex Morgan really just kind of adjusting her play style and what she wants to do, because the talent is there. It's undeniable. The talent for Alex Morgan is there, but the expectations are going to have to change for what she's going to be able to contribute to this team moving forward.
If she stays another season, I'm sure she would. She loves San Diego.
And that's what I kept hearing. Yeah, that's what I kept hearing from everybody as far as the players. Just the next year, same thing with Coach Casey Stone. It's just like the next year, the building aspect. There is going to be a expansion draft, 14 teams next year instead of the 12. So some players are not going to be here. That's going to add a different dynamic to it. But
what happens when Chelsea comes knocking on the door for Jaden Shaw?
See you later.
Because they saw.
See you later.
They saw the chemistry with her and Big Fish.
Official, yeah. I mean, that's a reality of things, right? Like,
Like,
would Jaden Shaw say no? And that's the thing. Like, then is everybody going to make fun of the NWSL? Like they were making fun of La Liga MX, not giving respect to Liga MX Femenil. Like, oh, it's just the Farmers League. Like, oh, yeah, NWSL. Oh, it's just the Farmers League.
That would be hilarious
Look
if
at
that
that
happens, right?
Yeah.
If you're Jaden Shaw, obviously you're 19, you're still young. You love being part of the team with Alex Morgan, but in the level of that she is at that age, Wave need to be smart and build the team around her. They need to make her their franchise player in a way. Like if you want her to like just be the it player, she has to stay. Obviously, she might want to go to Europe and play in Barcelona and try to go for a golden ball, a Ballon d'Or.
Yeah.
Like why not? Right? Go for it.
Yeah.
But you have to build a team around her. She's the next talent that you have. You can't build it around Morgan anymore, and Morgan just kind of at this point seems like a propaganda used to bring in people and sell tickets and commercials and stuff
and
like
again,
that. But,
and again,
that's
the
fine.
talent is still there,
Yeah.
but it needs adjusting. And she's not going to be your point, the creative.
She can't
she's not
play
gonna
a
be
full
that.
90 anymore.
Maybe not. And look,
Not in a semifinal.
Rapinoe is saying otherwise, right? Because she can play a full 90 and contribute. Importantly, I think she contributed in more ways than necessarily offensively. She was very important in a lot of different ways. But now Rapinoe is going to have a chance to win a title here in San Diego because guess what? The final is going to be here. That has to suck. On the 11th, it's going to be at Snapdragon Stadium. Rapinoe versus Krieger in the final to end their careers. Winner takes home the championship, and the other one just retires empty-handed for the season.
What a story for Gotham, right? Like barely making playoffs in the last game. Now you're in the NWSL championship, and you have a cool ass name.
Yeah, I mean, Esteban saying, Amira Ali was a great sub, but she needed more time. Yeah, she needed more time to cook. I guarantee that.
You know,
however,
she
hasn't been
You haven't
used
been
like
putting
that.
her in, and you throw her in the semifinal. You've been putting in Barcenas more than you have played Amira Ali.
Then put Barcenas.
Put Barcenas in. Like I don't understand. If you're talking about experience or anything, Barcenas pretty much has the same experience as Amira Ali. Is what her second season.
Yeah, yeah.
So
First,
I don't know. I think Casey Stoney kind of panicked, and if this happens again one more season where they lose in the semifinal, then you can start questioning. Okay, does Coach Casey Stoney just kind of choke in the playoffs? Because that could happen.
Yeah,
it could be. It's happened to coaches where they just can't perform under pressure and they panic. We've seen it all the time. We've seen it in finals where coaches just panic and don't make the subs. We've seen it in the World Cup final. We've seen it in the World Cup at the highest of levels in both men and women's soccer, and that could be the case for Casey Stoney. Hopefully, it's not. But so far, what we've been seeing, it's what they have going for right now is that they did finish first place.
yeah, and that's an accomplishment itself, right? Like if you're looking at the greater picture, taking that step back, first year expansion team, you make playoffs. Great. Make semifinals. Get booted out by Portland Thorns, the eventual champions. Second season, and the first season was kind of wonky because you played one at a 6,000K stadium, then you move over and you scale up. A lot of these players, this is the biggest game that they've ever played. So, take that as you will. Second year, they win the Shield. They win, and they're the best team in the regular season. They get that. They peak at the right time. Congratulations. It's a fantastic achievement. But then you have this second half, the second tournament, in a sense, like the whole league is a play-in tournament for the playoffs. And you really haven't had success there. Is it growth? Yes, because, now you get a home game. If we're seeing it that way, right? There was a chance that you could have not done so well and had an away game in the semifinals or not necessarily gotten that bye. So there is that growth already happening, but I think that there's still a lot of room for improvement, and everybody knows that. And Coach Casey Stoney knows that. She was very cognizant of that, and she even said that during her presser. We'll go ahead and we released the full version of the press conference. Excuse me, but it's some of the sound from Casey Stoney.
Once they get that 2v1.
Not that. What do you have to say, Casey?
I'm going to be able to say to them to make them feel better right now. It's about fine margins at this level. It's gone against us tonight. We need to be more consistent with the way we play. These experiences will help us build massively. But yeah, I just said to them, be proud of what you've achieved this season. We'll reflect, we'll learn. We need to come back into pre-season firing.
Come back to preseason firing and visibly emotional Casey Stoney. She came in and this is the most emotion that I've seen from her. Just teary-eyed here and there and really feeling it, right? Like it's a big ask to put microphones and cameras and lighting in front of you, but that's the job. That's the job that you have to do is really answer for.
I like how
the
you
club.
worded your second question and what does this mean for the future for you with Wave? And she kind of avoided it.
She did.
She did. She kind of avoided it. She didn't say if she's staying or not. I think she will. But there's a chance she doesn't come back next season. And whoever comes in can either make things better or make things worse. So,
and now the thing that you were talking about, right? Like Jayden Shaw, would she go to Chelsea per se, right? Like there's other options, Barcelona. Just there's great teams over in Europe in the women's league.
Mm-hmm.
But now you have in the U.S. women's national team, former, well, soon to be former, coach for the Chelsea women's team.
You know what's so cool about that? Is
Emma
that,
Hayes.
You know what's
Yes.
so cool is that she gets to manage Chelsea this season, but then she still gets to, during international break, she gets to go with the U.S. It kind of like career mode.
Yeah, it's career mode on FIFA. Absolutely.
Where you manage your team and
Yeah.
you still get to manage the national. Like, that's freaking dope.
Right, and so that's the thing. If say Casey Stoney does leave, right, and is no longer with San Diego Wave, not that there's any rumors, and not that there's anything. If there is, we'll launch a tweet. Sources, but that's not on the table right now. There's nothing on the table right now. Literally, the game just ended a couple of hours ago. But if Casey Stoney was to leave, then you start talking about the development of these players, right? Where who's the next person coming in? Is it really going to be somebody that Jayden Shaw will trust with her future? Is she going to then learn from somebody else elsewhere? Or you're like, look, I'm Jayden Shaw. I'm going to play here in San Diego Wave. I'm going to play under Casey Stoney. I really like what she's teaching me. I really like the philosophy that she has. And guess what? When I go play into the women's national team, I'm going to go play under Hayes, who manages Chelsea, who has her own play style. It's going to be a great learning opportunity. I'm going to be able to harness the things that I would, in a way, if I had gone to Chelsea. And I'm also going to learn that through osmosis, hopefully. So there's no real need for her to leave or anybody to leave the NWSL for that.
True, very true.
So it's going to be interesting just to kind of see what that's going to happen, what's going to develop here. Look, San Diego soccer is done. It's over. Soccer in
is.
San Diego
It
and
is.
the outdoor setting is
besides
finished.
the NWSL Championship being hosted in San Diego next week.
Yes.
But when it comes to San Diego teams, it's done.
It is done. And Alistar 34 right here.
Sorry, we couldn't get to 200 episodes, guys.
I'd like to think that the loss was to give courtesy to Krieger and Rapinoe.
It's a script.
Storybook ending for their careers, right? So, sure. I hope then that the NWSL gives that same to Alex Morgan when she retires with San Diego Wave, of having her, and host it here in San Diego too. That would be fantastic. But it's one of those things where, like, look, this team is 2 years old. Again, great point here. The club has existed for 2 years, and it's damn impressive. It really is. Tell me about another, team in sports that has immediate success such as that, right? We're talking about SDFC earlier here with Jimmy Conrad. Yeah, that was the same episode. Jimmy Conrad was here. Fantastic. Check that out. We're going to clip that fantastic insight on U.S. soccer and MLS. But we're talking about, will they have an immediate impact, SDFC, out the gate, year 1, year 2? Are they going to be successful? Are they going to be competitive? Who knows? But look, San Diego Wave, for what it's worth, they've been competitive since day one. They've been in playoffs. They've been representing this soccer in San Diego fantastically. I'd like to see a little bit more San Diego in the soccer of San Diego Wave. That'd be interesting. But again, it's a process. They're learning, and I think the steps that this team is taking are very interesting and very good building blocks to have. It's an independent team. It's independent from any male team. They don't have, say, like Portland Thorns and the Timbers, where there's that partnership. There's no partnership here. There's no partnership necessarily officially with SDFC. There's nothing. It's San Diego Wave and San Diego Wave standing alone, selling out over 32,000 individual seats in Snapdragon Stadium, proving to the world, proving to the league, proving to San Diego, proving to the MLS, proving to anybody that has a question about soccer in San Diego that this city is ready and primed and has been for quite a bit and hungry for some good, fantastic, top tier MLS soccer, NWSL, whatever it is, action. And for that, that's what everybody has to be proud of for this team and being represented in such a positive way by them. So does it suck that they get booted here in the semifinals? Absolutely. Does it suck that they don't get to play here at home and they get to watch from the stand somebody else lift the cup here in San Diego? Yep, that absolutely sucks. But guess what? That's the reality of things, and that's why the sport is so cruel, and that's why the sport is so cool, because you get those
Especially
moments.
here in San Diego.
You get those moments, and you know, being one of the few people that have covered San Diego Wave the entirety of the way.
Along with a handful of people.
Handful of people. Shout out to Johnny Richard, everything San Diego, Abraham Cepeda, just we saw Cesarin, Cesar H. Football, whenever he can, he makes it out there. But look, this is really the reality of things, and for what it's worth,
Francisco.
TikToker, extraordinario. For all things considered, this team is really putting San Diego soccer on the map, much like San Diego Loyal also put San Diego soccer on the map. And it's going to be incumbent of the incoming group to really help boost that and build upon that, not necessarily erase it and try to destroy it and make their own. Yeah, make it your own. Shit, I'm over here arguing against myself on Twitter. Fucking just saying, oh, don't you mean buy the merch and represent our city instead of your city? Like, things like that, right? Like, yeah, it's so subjective. It's arguing for the sake of arguing at that point, but if they're really backing it up, if these teams are backing it up, because guess what? Next year, Wave can ruin all this. Wave could just turn around and say, you know what? We're a money business. We're this, we're that. And just go that way. They can totally do that. And guess what? They'll probably still sell and have an average of 20,000 fans at Snapdragon and have the biggest attendance in NWSL. It's going to be an interesting couple of years.
They average more than MLS teams.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, they have midweek games too. They have midweek in-season tournaments too. There's a Challenge Cup as well now in season. So those are going to be very interesting kind of juxtapositions coming into this 2025 season. There's going to be an entire season, and we're going to go ahead and talk about next episode and episodes subsequent because, again, soccer is done in San Diego other than your San Diego Soccer 16-time champions. Check out Soccer's Overtime.
Catch Tony tomorrow.
Check out Soccer's Overtime on Twitch on Soccer's. To twitch.tv/Soccer's.
Wow, are we gonna have that every episode now?
We actually did before. We always used to shout out Jerry every Tuesday on twitch.tv/San Diego Soccer. San Diego.
Shouted out Craig. Yeah.
Yeah, Craig Elston and Big J,
Big J,
the boy.
Corporate J.
I love you, Jay.
Love you, Jay.
But I mean, it's really cool just seeing everybody kind of come together. Saw the Chavos coming in. Speaking of the Chavos, they do have a upcoming event, and we'll kind of close on this, right? They had.
Oh wait, Albion lost as well. Their semifinal 3-2 against Michigan Stars. Had they won this semifinal, they would have played the NISA championship at home. Because Flower City Union beat number 1 seed Chattanooga.
Riveting 3-2 match. It was 3-1 for quite a bit. Then they almost mounted a comeback in the 87th minute. So 33-2. They ended up not being able to complete the comeback. San Diego Albion does get eliminated in the semifinals as well. So
sources confirmed the coaching staff were not too happy.
Sources confirm. Sources also confirmed that here is the
Llegó el pavo.
Here's the flyer for the event that the Chavos that have been putting on for a couple of years now. It's a really good cause. I'll just read right off Papi
Chavo. Are they going to get a
Chavo.
different logo?
Crest, they
Crest.
do. And you've gotten the sticker. So
But they should have used it.
they should have used it, yeah. But you know what? It's fine. It's
Chavo y
not my thing.
Pavos. I like that name.
Chavos y Pavos, Saturday, November 18th at 12 p.m. There's free turkeys. They're going to be passing out free turkeys, canned food. First come, first serve. It's going to be on 2181 Logan Avenue at Border X Brewing. I'll read Papi Chavo's little blurb here. We're cutting it close. Hold on. We're cutting it close, fool. Normal this year, but the 4th annual Chavos y Pavos turkey giveaway is still going down, homie. We got 2 weeks to gather as much donations as possible. Spread the word. Let's make it happen. SD.
Foo.
Foo.
That was good.
Shout out to the great Papi Chavo. But yeah, so event coming in. You can still donate. There's time to donate. Here is the look. I'm gonna get you out of the way.
Yeah, get me out of the way.
Donate. There it
Scan
is.
that.
Adrian
Donate.
to Adrian. That's not a scam. Like that's the boy. This will good. Go and literally help hungry people and feed people, feed families.
But man, if you're one of the lucky people that get to have a Thanksgiving dinner every year with your family, there's people that don't get to experience that. There's people that question what they're gonna eat every single day. So, what the Chavos have been doing for the community, it's very important. And shout out to Papi Chavo because he is one of those pillars in this community that's literally been about it since day one. So big shout out to him and the Chavos for doing that. He was also out there at the Wave game. I think one of the only Chavos that was out there at the Wave game. Yeah. So big shout out to Papi Chavo.
Riptides were there. I guess Chavos were represented by the Papi Chavo. Maybe one or two others sprinkled in there. But yeah, so will you be attending the NWSL final? Yes, we'll go ahead and be there. But there was an event held, and we did talk with Shannon McMillan earlier this week about her new role, and everything's kind of closing up. We're in the epilogue of soccer season 2023 in San Diego, and it's about to get closed up. There's still some loose ends. There's people moving. Coque Vegas, Jimmy Conrad, I'm telling you, he's on it. Oh, Coque Vegas didn't get signed for Rhode Island? Yep, first signing. Hola, ¿qué tal? Soy Coque Vegas. They're going to be enjoying that. I don't think he's going to be having his cafecito strolls as he did in downtown to go to Dark Horse in Rhode Island.
It's cold over there, so he's going to have cafecito.
Yeah, he's going to get the chata, some clam chata. But Elijah Martin also going to El Paso. There is confirm. I'm waiting to confirm actually with one Camden Riley on his destination. We are going to go ahead and try to have him on because some of the loyal players went to an event held by some people. They saw him over at Snapdragon as well, supporting the Wave yesterday. So those guys are on about. Elijah Martin making it over to El Paso Locomotive. He was actively trying to convince Tumi Moshabani to go to El Paso Locomotives. It was pretty wholesome.
Do you think any players go to Phoenix?
Sure. I see some players going to OC. I can see a lot of players kind of staying here on the West Coast. I can see some players retiring. Do I see players coming back to SDFC? Maybe the really young ones, Xavi, Durant somehow, but they got to have a whole year because, again, Wave doesn't play for a whole year. SDFC doesn't play for a whole year. Wave is the only show in town, other than your 16-time world champion.
Adrian Perez going back to the MASL with the Sockers.
Adrian Perez, that'd be cool. I actually tried to convince Elijah Martin. I'm like, hey man, like, have you considered like indoor soccer? Like, what's that like? Look, Craig Elston got Landon Donovan to play for the fucking soccer. So, hey man, what do you think? It's like, no, like he was actually into like, no, like I used to play, like my play style is actually this and this and this. And I'm like, yeah, some people were saying that you'd be a defender, but I'm like, nah. And he's like, oh, absolutely not. I'm a, box to box, a midfielder, this and this and this. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And I talked to Toomey. I'm like, hey, Toomey. So like you were put into thought and playing in the indoor game? He's like, actually, I used to play in Chicago. And since Chicago is really cold, we used to play a lot of indoor. And I'm actually really used to playing indoor and it'd be pretty cool. Long story short, those guys still have gas in the tank for outdoor. They're going to play professional. However, Elijah seemed pretty interested, like towards the end of his career, just to come on down. Okay. So that might be an interesting development. Shout out to all the players. We're going to go ahead and have a just talk with a lot more players that have gone through the halls of San Diego Loyal, because again, that's an important part here of soccer in San Diego. But other than that, I mean, it's been a long week. It's been a fantastic week. Daylight savings time. My sister almost burned my house down with frijoles. It's a very interesting time. Thank you for everybody that's been here for San Diego Futbol's own 2 balls and a mic. 2 balls and a mic. Check everything out on San Diego Futbol. Check it Instagram.
Things happening. 24.
Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe. Be a friend. Tell a friend. By the way, People hating on the doesn't represent. How did the lightning bolt represent San Diego? How did the fire represent San Diego? The missions, the crusades. Junipero Cera. That's the whole thing. That's why there's a friar. Lightning bolt. It's supposed to represent a charger, the horse, which is a double meaning with charger, electricity. So that's kind of how that happened. Not hating on you, Mercy. It's just the kind of reality of things. But shout out to everybody who joined us. Shout out to Jimmy Conrad. Thank you, Jimmy Conrad, for this. We're going to go ahead and keep this rolling. This is episode 197, 3 away now from 200.
Big episode coming up.
Two Balls and a Mike's Football League. Vale verga.
We won this weekend.
Pero valemos verga.
Yep. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good night.
Season's greetings.